Welcome to Cooking 5-Way series. My name is Piali Callahan, and I'm an instructor and research specialist at Miller Branch, and I'm joined by my coworker, Nancy Target. In this series of classes, Introduction for Cooking 5-Way series, our wonderful SNAP Ed educator, Razan Sahuri, takes us virtually to her kitchen to show us some recipes with the featured ingredient for that particular class. And as Nancy mentioned, today's featured ingredient is peanut butter. Before the presentation by Razan, we just wanted to say a few words about her. Razan Sahuri works at the University of Maryland Extension. She is Howard County's Maryland SNAP Aid nutrition educator. Razan holds a bachelor's degree in nutrition and dietetics and a master's degree in public health. Through her work with UME, Razan partners with Howard County Public School System, Head Start Centers, and the Howard County Food Bank to deliver nutrition education to students, parents, and teachers. These collaborations also involve leveraging resources between Maryland SNAP Ed and local community agencies to facilitate greater access to and availability of healthy food options and influence the adoption of policy, systems, and physical environment changes related to a healthier lifestyle. So without much further ado, Razan, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And yes, today we're talking about peanut butter. Can everyone see this? Just give me a thumbs up or something if Piali, if you see it. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So today's lesson or get together is very quick. We're going to do what we've been doing every time we're together. We're going to talk briefly about the benefits of our featured ingredient. In this case, it's peanut butter. We're going to talk about different types of peanut butter, and then we're going to do a cooking demonstration. I'm going to show you 3 different ways. And at last, I'm going to open it up for questions and answers. But with that said, if you have any questions, meanwhile, please feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll make sure to try at least and get them answered. So let's start with the benefits of peanut butter. And when we talk about benefits of peanut butter, it's not just peanut butter, it's also peanuts in general. It's an excellent source of plant protein. So if you're trying to reduce your meat consumption, or if you're trying to increase your plant-based protein, peanuts or peanut butter is an excellent choice. It's also a good source of fat, especially good fats as well. It's a good source of fiber. That's why, when we have peanut butter, it's kind of filling. It has also vitamins and minerals that are essential for our body. It's been linked to cardiovascular health. It helps heart disease. Some studies show that it helps reduce diabetes or other kinds of cancers like colon cancer. So all in all, peanut butter is very healthy. But at the same time, it's also caloric. So just, it's a fine line. So be careful or mindful that it has calories, it has a lot of fat. So, not to make sure you have it, in a balanced diet. And there's one thing I wanted to mention here. When we talk about peanuts, although they have the nut part of peanuts, they're not nuts. They are more legumes than they're nuts. Usually, we think of them as part of the nut family, but in reality, they're more legume than nuts. It doesn't really matter, but I just wanted to draw your attention to that. So when we go to the grocery store, just like almost everything, we look and we find so many different types and kinds of peanut butter. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of ways to distinguish the different types of peanut butter. The first is in terms of consistency. So, you'll see words such as crunchy or creamy. So that talks about the texture of the peanut butter itself. So if you look at them, if you compare them, you'll find, the crunchy has more chunks to it, the creamy is more creamy. So it's all about personal preference, what you enjoy. If you're using it in a recipe, maybe you'd want the creamy one just for texture-wise. But let's say if you're having it on an apple and you enjoy the crunchy part, it doesn't matter. They're both similar in terms of nutrition profile. It's just that consistency, that's the difference. The other thing that distinguishes, or the difference in different kinds of peanut butter, is in the ingredient list. So just, by looking at the ingredient list, you will see that there are different types. Some of the peanut butter, they call them natural. Usually you'll see the word natural on them. When you turn and look at the ingredient list, it's only peanut butter and salt, or peanuts and salt. So that's the most, let's say, the least amount of ingredients. Or sometimes when you go to a grocery store, some of the grocery stores, you can take the peanuts, you can buy the peanuts from there, and then they can make them, turn them into peanut butter then and there. So you know that there's nothing else in it. And of course, the less amount of ingredients, the better. Sometimes when we look at the ingredient list, you will see sugar added, you might see oil added. So these are things just to be mindful of, especially that some of the peanut butter, they write on them low fat, because as you know, peanuts are high in fat. So they're trying to lower the fat sometimes. And by them doing that, usually the flavor is compromised, and what they do in return is they put more sugar. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Sometimes oils are added also to prolong its shelf life. So you might find hydrogenated fats, which are not healthy, or you might see palm oil. Palm oil, although it's plant-based, it's a source of saturated fat. So other than the environmental impact on having palm oil, let's just focus on the nutrition impact. Saturated fat is not something you want to see in your peanut butter. So just make sure that you read the ingredient list and try and get the one with the least ingredients. And granted, that will shorten its shelf life, but it's just something for you to check. I wanted to show you. So this is peanut butter that I have that is not mixed. So sometimes you will see the oil on top, and that's totally normal. That's okay. Because of the oil, it's rich in oils, it is fatty in nature, you might see that the oil comes up. So it's not an issue. All you have to do is just mix it and it'll be fine. With that said, we're going to move to our different ways to have peanut butter. Usually when we talk about peanut butter, or not peanut butter, sorry, our 5 ways, we talk about lunch, dinner, snack, dessert, and breakfast. This time it's going to be a little bit different, but we're still talking about 5 different ways you can incorporate peanut butter into your diet. The first is in breakfast. Let's say you make pancakes or waffles. It's so easy to add peanut butter into your batter to make whatever you make in the morning. It's so easy, and you're just adding, that extra protein into your diet. Another one is making bars, breakfast bars or energy bars. Again, those can also work as a snack, depending on what you put in them or how much you consume of them. But that's something, again, that is very healthy. You can make it at home. And I think one time when we did the oats lesson, we shared a recipe that has peanut butter in it, if I'm not mistaken. You're going to go home anyways with 2 of these recipes, so you don't have to worry about that. The second way is mains. Usually, when we think about peanut butter, we don't think of it in a savory capacity. Although it is savory, we think of it as, we might put it in a sandwich, or we prepare it with breakfast or a snack, but it actually works with savory dishes. So peanut butter can be an excellent foundation to sauces, to dressings, especially if you're interested in trying food with an Asian twist. Usually soy sauce works great with peanut butter, and it turns out really yum. So today we're going to try the noodles, the ones you see on the right. Those easy noodles can be, prepared in advance, very easy. And then the other recipes, like the wrap over here, you're just using it instead of, a condiment, instead of mayonnaise or ketchup or something like that. Just pairing it with, cooked chicken or cold cuts that you have that are healthy, like a turkey breast, with some vegetables. Or over here, it has mangoes, because, you feel like mangoes and peanuts, they work together. It also works. So just try and explore. It doesn't also only have to be, in a sweet capacity. Our third way is as a snack. And this, I feel, sometimes is interchangeable with breakfast, like in energy bars or energy balls. You can do that. And then there are small snacks, like the small round bananas that you see. Those we're going to make today. You know, you can use peanut butter as a glue to add flavoring to your fruit. So just like peanut butter and apples, you can just have that by itself, or you can use, let's say, your apples, your peanut butter, and then add something to, let's say, dried cranberries to your apples, and they would stick through your peanut butter. The fourth is through a liquid. And when we say liquid, I mean smoothies here. And smoothies are a very nutritious way to have your fruit. You might even have your vegetables. You can have your protein. This can be great as breakfast. You can prepare it ahead of time, or just have the ingredients ready. And in the morning, you just blend things up. Or you can have it as a snack. Again, today we are going to try a peanut butter and jelly. It's called jelly. It doesn't have jelly. Smoothie. So, and I hope you get to try it. Again, that's another way of increasing your protein. If you're trying to find ways to increase protein intake, peanut butter is one of those easy ways to just add, you know, a scoop or a tablespoon into your smoothie, and you're good to go. And finally, you can add it to your baking. Again, because of its consistency, it's very easy to add it, just like with pancakes or waffles. You can add it to your baking. You can make muffins, you can make breads, cakes. Again, it will have some flavor. It will, if you love, you know, that peanut flavor, you would enjoy it. And with that said, I forgot to mention I'm going to go back to it, the different types of peanut butter, the alternatives. If someone is allergic to peanut butter, you know, if nobody's allergic, it's great. You'll see it in so many households, but sometimes it's one of the most popular allergies in the US. So if a household has, you know, peanut butter or peanut allergy, there are different alternatives to peanuts that are very similar. So for example, you have other nuts like almond, hazelnut. Those, it's the same process where, you know, they take the nut and they turn it into butter. And that's a great way of also having that nut. If you have someone that is allergic to nuts, and nuts are, you know, no, there's also sunflower butter. It tastes different. So the butter tastes like the main ingredient. That's one thing to keep in mind, but it's very similar. So it works in those recipes. You can substitute, or if you have a kid that is allergic, you know, to peanuts, you can still do all of these activities with them, like, you know, letting them spread the peanuts on the apples, or one of the recipes that we're doing today is actually kid friendly. They can still do that with the alternative. With that said, let's start cooking. Any questions so far?
Not yet. I think we're all just looking forward to the recipes.
And if you want to pin my, highlight my screen, that works. I'm going to open the recipes. Just give me 1 minute. All right. I'm trying to put all my recipes on the iPad, so this is new to me. Let's see if that works. I'm just gonna put it right here instead of, you know, writing the ingredients and everything. Okay, so the first recipe that we're going to do together is the easy peanut noodles. And what's nice about this recipe is you can have it cold, you can have it as a side, you can have it as dinner, you can add to it. It's basically what's different about it, or what's interesting about it, is the actual sauce, the dressing that has the peanuts. So what you do is you start with pasta while your pasta's cooking. Or if you have leftover pasta, you can do that. But let's say our pasta's being cooked as we speak. So you just bring a bowl to work on the dressing. And that's what we're going to do together right now. So you need half a cup of peanut butter. So usually half a cup is around eight tablespoons. So we're going to put the peanut butter right here. And again, you can see from the consistency, because it doesn't have a lot of things added, sometimes it's harder to work with it, but that's totally fine. Usually the ones that have oil added, the consistency is a bit more, it's easier to play around with it. So after we put the peanut butter, you're going to add half a cup of warm water. And it's gonna look messy at first, but it'll work eventually. Okay. And then 3 tablespoons low sodium. And that's basically the Asian flavor that I was talking to you about. It just gives it that kick. 2 cloves of garlic, fresh garlic. And the recipe asks for 1 tablespoon of either fresh minced ginger or ground. And I have ground, so I'm just gonna put the ground. Two tablespoons of freshly squeezed lime, sorry. I don't have lime, so I'm just gonna use lemon. And that works. All our recipes are very forgiving, and you can use whatever you have at home. Don't go shopping just for a lime. 1 tablespoon of something sweet, so it can be either sugar, honey, or maple syrup. So I'm just gonna use honey. I feel maple syrup will give a flavor, unless you enjoy it. It might be too much. Or things that are more fall appropriate, I feel maple syrup or baking works better with them. And then we need 1 teaspoon, this is optional, of sesame oil. Just again, to give it that kick. You don't have to do that if you don't have sesame oil. You don't need to put it. And then 2 teaspoons of hot sauce, and that's optional too. We like our food spicy. So I'm gonna add that. And there's one trick with peanut butter. If you want it to slip off your utensils or your cup, you can spray it with oil or just douse it with, just make sure it's coated with oil. It'll be much easier to get it out. So now you just kind of whisk this, mix it first. I feel if you have toasted sesame seeds, that works great with this. Any questions so far?
Yeah, we do have a comment that sesame oil is potent, so you only need a little bit.
Yes, you should smell it. It literally smells like sesame oil over here. So 1 teaspoon is more than enough. And the darker sesame oil also is more pungent in terms of flavor. So if you get the darker one, you need less. So the consistency is, as you can see, it's not liquid, but at the same time, it's not thick. It's a little bit thick actually, but it's not solid, I mean. So after you mix this, I'm going to bring my pasta. So you cook your pasta, you drain it, and you just, to save on washing pots, we're gonna add it here. You can add vegetables to this. So this recipe asks for 1 bell pepper cut, and then 1 medium carrot chopped. The recipe asks for green onions, and to be honest, I thought I had green onions. I did not have green onions, so my bad. But so you can add any vegetables you have that you like to eat raw, because we're adding this, and then we're just gonna add our dressing. The main, the main showstopper for this recipe is actually the sauce, not the pasta and the veggies are just a vessel.
Yeah, we have a comment that somebody thinks that snap peas, cabbage, and garlic would be great additions to this.
Yes, absolutely. So I think it might need a little bit more water. Actually, no, it doesn't. I was just, as you can see, And then when you're done, plate it. I feel the dressing for me personally is a little bit too thick, so I might just add more water to it when I'm preparing it. So you add your vegetables, and sorry, I chopped them and I didn't bring them here. Fresh cilantro for garnish. So you just add that on top, you know, just to give it some freshness. And this is our first recipe. So this is the easy noodles. Very easy. Did you see? I mean, it literally didn't take me any time. So this is our first recipe. Our second recipe is the peanut butter and Pb and J smoothie. So I think they put it Pb and J because it doesn't really have some jelly, but you'll bring your blender and we're going to put everything in the blender. So you're going to start with 2 cups of frozen strawberries or any other frozen vegetable fruit. And I need to grab those from the freezer. We debated whether I take them out before class, but I wanted them to, you know, be as frozen as possible. So you'll add those to your blender. And if you don't have frozen and you only have, you know, fresh, you can do that. It's just the consistency. When they're frozen, the consistency is a little bit different. 1 banana, also peeled and frozen. So it's a little bit thawed. Okay, 3/4 cup of vanilla yogurt over here. Half a cup of 100% orange juice or apple juice. I got apple juice. And it's store-bought, you know, it doesn't have to be fresh. If you have an orange and you'd like to squeeze that, you can do it by all means. And then 1 tablespoon of honey. Again, honey. Or you can omit the honey if you feel that it's already too sweet. And 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. And again, it's a regular smoothie recipe. The only difference is that it has peanut butter, which is, you know, again, as I mentioned before, it's that extra protein. All right. And I'm going to take it to the blender and blend it. So I'll be back. Let's see. I'm sorry if this is going to be a little bit loud. This is our second recipe, which is the Pb and J smoothie. And when you use iced ingredients, it gives it that extra creaminess. Let's see. We have a strawberry here. And straw. And this is our second recipe. And it's very perfect for this time of year, I feel. Our third recipe, which is the banana peanut butter. And this one is great if you want your kids to, just if you want them to prepare their snack and still have fun with it. So what we're going to do, the recipe asks for 2 bananas, but we're only going to do 1 banana. So you peel the banana. And you're going to use your peanut butter as the glue to add toppings to it. So the recipe asks for crushed nuts, but I thought we can do other than crushed nuts. So you can do, other options like coconut, shredded coconut. These are shredded almonds, or even chocolate. So you get the knife, you spread peanut butter on your banana. And I think this is the part where kids will enjoy. One of them is, to make a mess so they can spread. And I feel this works with other fruits. So as I mentioned before, you can use apples. I don't know, any thoughts on what kind of fruit you think might work? I'm thinking maybe strawberries. I don't know. Since we added them to the smoothie. So you can do one side and then turn it to the other side. Again, as I mentioned, it's a little bit messy, and this is what kids, will enjoy doing. One of the things you can do is either just add, just sprinkle the toppings, or you can just put them there and dab them. Like so. Once you're done, you can add, I'm gonna add coconut, chocolate. The chocolate, I think you need smaller pieces to stick, but that works. And once you're done with that, this is where the other fun part is. Kids can, using a safe knife, they can just cut it into inch-long pieces. And then you can put them in the fridge or the freezer. But if you put them in the freezer, they will be like a simple recipe, like a simple snack for them. So they prepare them and then they can have them once they're ready to have them. And it's messy, as you can see. So I think that's one thing, that's a plus. They'll enjoy it, although they'll make your kitchen maybe a bit messy, but it's part of the fun, right? Okay, any questions? So no frozen bananas for this. For this one, I'm using regular bananas because we're going to freeze them afterwards. But you can, if you have frozen bananas, you can absolutely use the bananas you have. So I'm just gonna bring those back. So we have we have a snack, we have a dinner, and then we have the smoothie that I think works as a breakfast as well. With that, let me stop my camera here. All right. Any questions, comments, concerns that I can help you with?
Yum, yum.
Well,
Yum,
to be
yum.
honest, that's my dinner today. So I'm excited for the peanut butter. I used, so the pasta, it's better if you use whole wheat, just, to increase your fiber content. I used lentil pasta. So you can use any pasta that you have at home. And especially if you cook pasta, let's say for dinner yesterday and you have some leftovers, you can use that. It's very easy since, it's already done. And this dish is, it's supposedly eaten cold. So you don't have to worry about it. You can also, if you have leftover chicken, you can add that, or, any other protein. As you mentioned, you can add cabbage or snap peas. I'm thinking even peanuts just for the crunch. So it's very versatile. with the, I'm going to call them the messy banana, peanut butter bananas. It's fun. I think you can do that with apples as well. And you can cut the apples in different shapes. They can cut them in different shapes as well, depending on the kid's age. You know, if they're too little to do that, you can do it for them, and then they can just, you know, paint them, stick the peanut butter on them, and then the toppings. And then the smoothie, I'm thinking, you know, it's, you can prepare all the ingredients ahead of time, put them in a bag. You know, in the morning, all you have to do is just dump them in the blender and you're done. Any questions?
I don't see any. I think everybody's just hungry. So we'll give a shout out to see if anybody has any questions for Razan about today's ingredient, peanut butter, or any of the ingredients that we've had in the past. If you've tried something that we've cooked before and want to share how it came out with Razan, we would love to hear from you.
Please, please, if you try any of our recipes. So you're going home today with a mix of recipes. You know, I think maybe they might be 10 or a little bit more. So you're getting the recipes that you saw right now, and you're also getting some other ones, some breakfast recipes. And so there's another savory one, some snacks. So please, if you try any of them, we'd love to hear from you, whether you like them, or even if you don't like them, what you'd like to be different about them. If you take pictures and send me, I love it when you do that. So thank you when you do it. You know, when you send me pictures, it's great, but no pressure. If you know, if you feel that it's too much, I would love to hear your feedback. And yes, our next class is canned fruit. That's going to be, I think, our last class. No, we still have one more, but it's going to be different time. We still have milk that is end of August as well. So I look forward to seeing you all here next month.
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording, but we will stick around for a minute or two. If anybody has any questions for Razan, we'd love to take them.